and having events and things like that where I'm trying to tie in the community. I'm trying to collaborate with other people because I know that the Kwanzaa principles, the lack of the practice thereof is what is devastating the Black community as to why we can't operate outside of mistrust and, lack of wanting to actually have to be in charge of everything, but learning how to work together.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready? Nope. For a long journey where our podcast released a new epi, searching for a faith feeling, new fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones, they gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, text some friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talk your wisdom out.
Episode 60, Shawnee Love the Kids, with our guest, Shawnee Haynes. Shawnee Haynes, how are you doing this fine afternoon?
Let's say post-Christmas Day. I'm tired because I did cook. I had, my kids here and my grandkids here. So that was an exciting day. And I'm just recovering from being up at 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, trying to make this, that dressing, and Cornish hens and yams and greens and stuff. Well, Bay made the greens, but I was in there. So, but I'm doing all right. I'm feeling good. Just ready for my birthday, actually, which is next Monday because I'm a New Year's baby. So I'm trying to get it ready. But outside of that, I'm good.
When you're a January 1st baby, do you guys all wish that you were the leap year January 1st? Is there always like a wish, man, why couldn't I be the leap year one?
I've never really even thought about that because being a New Year's baby is an event within itself. You experience a little bit, holiday babies will understand this regards to especially having your birthday party on New Year's Eve. And so you have people forget to tell you happy birthday or they give you one gift, for Christmas and New Year's and your birthday and all that. So it's just, there's an upside, there's a downside. And one of the biggest ones is when people decide to plan something with me or for me late. Things are 3 and 4 times more expensive. Things are already sold out, reserved. And so then we get all this disappointment or lack thereof, and I've done it to myself sometimes, ordering offline and I wait till the last minute. And so my stuff doesn't come till after my birthday. So, those are just some of the things. But as far as the stuff that I've seen or places that I've, been able to go, like, my 40th, I did that in Los Angeles by the beach. I rented a 4-story beach home and that was nice, but it was 36 degrees. So,
if I was in your circle, I don't know if I'm getting you for the Christmas gift, but the day after Christmas when them sales start, girl, you getting about 3-4 gifts on the 1st. I'm just letting you know. That's how I would get down.
That's fine. Just label them right. Just label them. It's Christmas, birthday, New Year's. Just label them.
Or maybe I get you. No, now I think about it. Man, I just spoke too soon. My mouth always gets me into trouble. I'm going to get you your Christmas gift, but I won't give it to you till I see you for your January 1st birthday party. And then I'm going to say, hey, this is the Christmas gift. And then this is the January 1st gift.
Okay.
But I didn't buy them until the day after Christmas when stuff was discounted.
Hey, I'm flexible. I'm happy with whatever I get. I'm appreciative. So just the thought for me that counts. But I like that idea.
I know you get down with the get down, as we all just heard for the Christmas Day cooking. I didn't want to just show up and wreck all that family stuff. So I wasn't gonna give you the gift then. And in that case, it gets me out of it. I just done helped out people in your family.
Yeah, you should have.
I just gave him the plan.
Gave him a little jewel there.
Now she ain't gonna send this out to family and friends. She's gonna keep this podcast to herself. Hey, they were like, "Yo, Shawnee, I thought you was on a podcast. You wanted me to hear it." Nah, you know what? Dude was tripping. We didn't even get it done. Well, what was his name? Because I can go back now. See, he shut down. Like that's why. Don't go looking for it. He shut down. Like that was part of the problem. So, Shawnee, Los Angeles, you mentioned it. I used to live out there. I used to live out in Inglewood, Culver City.
Wow.
I know. I'm a 949 area code too.
213 here, baby. 213.
I'm still repping. Let's see, wifey, she's 323. My wife.
Okay. That newer, that newer area code.
so she's from Hollywood.
Okay.
And,
so then that's
grew up. And I think, since I met her, she was living in San Diego when I met her for college, but she still was rocking that 323 then. So
okay.
Had it. So how soon? How new was it? When did that 323 come about?
So I thought it came out. I don't know if I might be telling my age. I don't know how old y'all are, but I don't remember 323, and it could be because it was out when I was smaller. But I'm a 75 baby, so 213 has been there since I could know. So 323. I think came somewhere into play. Maybe when I was a little kid, like maybe 10, when I started learning how to dial, make phone calls, rotary dial.
Well, hold on. So I'm going to defend Hollywood always up to no good cats. When the song California Love came out, Dr. Dre and Tupac said they gave a shout out to Hollywood. They did.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think. When Luda did I Got O's in different area codes, I'm trying to see if they did 323 then. So I'm gonna challenge you that
he could have, but I'm just saying it's not as old as me. I don't feel as old as me. So that's I'm not saying it's like that new, but I'm sorry. You come from some place and something pop up and changes the game, because memorizing numbers back then and those days was the only way to call somebody. So you knew most of the people that I knew had 213 area codes. They'd have some 949s, things like that, 310, but 323. I'm still on the fence with when that came to be, because that was what Pacific Bell time frames. I was in high school, and I think I really do remember this because I remember sneaking and getting a landline phone in my room.
Oh,
well, because I went to predominantly white school, but I lived in the hood. I lived off Gage and Hoover. So I was there around the crack, the Strawberry Lane, the shooting, all that stuff. But I went to a predominantly white school. So it just life, I'm telling you. It just became a different dynamic with having to do things one way in another environment and coming back home and having to do things in another environment. So, I mean, from tagging and all kinds of stuff. I've street danced. I used to be a street battler. My group was called Nothing But Trouble. So if you ever saw NBT on the bus, it might have been my friends, not me.
So I mentioned it, but I'm just gonna back up, and I'm just gonna say, girl, you don't sway me, because I'm looking at the area codes that Luda shouted out. And the only one he did was 213, Los Angeles. So then we done. You won.
Luda.
If you're looking up something, you go to the Webster's Dictionary, you go to the bookstores, or you go to Ludacris lyrics. I mean, that's where you go.
Definitely. But I mean, that area code means a lot.
You dropped a lot on us. So I want to go back to a few things here. I'm an East Coast cat, and I know like what was being put out during the time when you was coming up. First of all, for those who are just doing the podcast and you're on audio, she has the hair laid and she's got on a green bandana. But like on the East Coast, we thought when the movie Colors came out, that's when you was growing up. Am I right? Am I spot on with that?
Yes.
And then the sensationalism of the news reports. Man, you had to watch what color you was rocking, like anywhere and everywhere. Like you made sure your stuff was neutral. What day of the week is it? Okay, then I need to do a color check. Make sure ain't no new gang pop up rocking. Was it serious like that?
Yes. So neutral colors: black, white, pink, of course, red, blue, brown, yellow, never. So the Hispanics and Latinos did Latinos were brown and sometimes green and yellow. And then the African American gangs, it was blue and red for the most part with me growing up. So just walking from the school bus to get to the house, you pass Snowfall, all the series in one, except for the CIA. You might have passed it too, who knows? But I mean, everything from propositions to join a gang, be a prostitute, become a runner, become a lookout, to you want to try this. I mean, so but then you have the gangs. And so like, you know, I literally bought my first 380 when I was about 15 because I didn't feel safe walking home. So this magnet school that I had to go to, my parents weren't always able to pick me up. So I had to walk from the said bus stop drop off. Didn't matter if you were girl, boy, whatever. It was one consolidated drop off for the people in that general area. We all had to walk our separate ways to get home. And so, you know, Gage and Hoover and Vermont and, you know, 66, those were like the best streets to be walking down after coming from track practice, basketball practice. You getting off the bus at 9, 10 o'clock at night. That's when everything is popping, literally. And so, I mean, after that, I had to, you know, make a purchase. It wasn't, you know, people think that those choices in your life, you have a choice all the time and you don't, you know? So I had to make some choices of my own, like how I'm gonna protect myself if somebody comes up. And I'm only 5'3". I might have been 5'1" at 15, 16, you know, so I'm a little bitty thing and I'm athletically built. I could probably run, but I can't outrun no bullets. You know, so I mean, but luckily I did have family members in gangs, so there was a bit of a protective thing in regards to me. My uncle was a Grave Street Crip and all this other stuff, and so it was like, you know, that's Hawkins' niece, whatever, don't mess with her, blah blah blah. But still, as you say, new gangs pop up all the time, and people want to test and try and obtain and all of that, and so it becomes a swivel head, you know. It's like you walking down the street and you got to be swiveling because you just really never know. I mean, I remember corner Gage and Hoover in high school. There was even a car accident where somebody was decapitated, and I went out to see that, you know, and I think I was about 16. I grew up and I was there during the LA riots. So that was a life-changing event, to watch your city burning and police riding shotguns, and they turn the water off, they turn the lights off. So you just in a straight blackout. So it's not a pretty sight, you know. So PTSD already was there. You know, I had cops try to run me and my friends over as we were walking through an alley, and we were just walking around, just looking at the devastation of our neighborhood. I mean, stuff just on fire. Couldn't go to the grocery store, couldn't get gas, couldn't get water. Luckily, my dad worked out of town, which was in San Pedro, so he'd go to work and bring stuff home. My dad had a generator. My dad had his weapons. You know, we had food stored up, and, you know, we knew things to do, so it didn't hit us as hard as some of my friends who didn't have anything and who didn't have vehicles to go try to get food and stuff like that. So robbery was on the high. You had, you know, just it was a scary time. I'm not saying it was Beirut or anything, but it definitely felt like I mean, I just was like, the only thing that was missing was bombs.
No, your dad had to chain up that generator because if he had it out back, he had to chain it up, right? You got to make sure that it stays with y'all.
Well, where we lived at, honestly, we had good neighbors. My dad, were friends with all our neighbors. That was one thing I think I learned from my grandfather and my or maybe just grandparents in general, where in that era, everybody knew their neighbors. So if there was ever a time of chaos, you could go across the street and get some whatever. So because my dad was coming in with stuff, he was able to help my neighbors as well. You know, just the ones that he knew. It was about 3 or 4 of them, and that's about it. But yeah, he didn't have to chain it. You know, my dad, trust me, when we had a dog too, it was pit bull, so no one was coming No one was coming in my backyard. That was not happening. We hadn't had any issues like that. And I think, like I said, again, you know, having sometimes a certain family name and, you know, because I'm a shepherd and my family was known in the city for that because my dad worked for LA County and my grandfather. So the shepherd name was kind of known. And then my dad would work with some of the Latinos in the area to help them finish their projects, like working on cars and fixing their house. And he'd go plumb people's, you know, get their sinks and plumbing work done, if, you know, stuff like that. So he built relationships. So we never really, like, I would hear some of my friends' stories at school and I'm like, hey, because we all live in the same hood, you know, but it's just like, we don't have that problem with our neighbors, you know. So I can, at this age, definitely appreciate my dad and my grandfather in how they taught us how to build relationships and make connections, which I guess ties into the person that I am now when I'm doing events and having events and things like that, where I'm trying to tie in the community. I'm trying to collaborate with other people because I know that the Kwanzaa principles, the lack of the practice thereof, is what is devastating the Black community as to why we can't operate outside of mistrust and you know, and lack of wanting to actually have to be in charge of everything, but learning how to work together to succeed and accomplish the mission. Yeah. And you see things just that could be so great if this person, that person, and this person can work together. But when people have different motives or different intentions or different principles behind how they feel that things are supposed to go for them, and they're not thinking about the collective, and it's like, I need my money now, I want my money now. That's why if I do collaborations and I tell people, like, look, if it's something that I know you're going to get paid off, I'm going to tell you that. But if it's not, and this is more of a collaborative, like we are quid pro quo, and you scratch my back, I scratch yours, you know, some kind of barter and trade system. And then if I do get some monetary gain from this, then I'll definitely cut you some. But a lot of people, you go into business, they want to pay out yesterday. And it's like, and growth is, I would say sustainable growth is not supposed to be expedient. It's supposed to be gradual, because then it helps you to teach you to appreciate it. And then to also learn from that growing process. If you just go from A to Z in your mission, as far as getting to that goal with business or whatever, you missed a lot of lessons in the middle, you know. And so then you get to this point where, you know, I talk to some people that say, that's that term, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and you Black. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put that out there. That can be on the air forever. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Like, there's somebody somewhere paved the way for you, especially being a minority, because only up until 50 years ago, we weren't even able to have businesses and property and land, not 50, but a little bit more than that. But, you know, we weren't able to have the things that we have now. And even still to this day, we fight for them every day. You fight for your position at work. You fight for your position at school. You fight for just a safe face, just in being in your community, living in your home as a Black person. So you know, when I try to work with my people, I try to let them know my true intentions and to be as transparent as possible. Like, I am, you know, I'm Army retired, so I get my. You're welcome. So I'm good as far as, I'm not doing this event to make money like that. Like, yes, I want to make money, of course. I want to monetize off of my visions and the things that I come up with in my head to entertain others and stuff, but I wanted to also serve a purpose. Every event that I have, I want people to leave it and say that they had an experience. Now, I don't want to hear you enjoyed yourself, it was great. I want to say, oh, it was an experience. I learned this. I didn't know that. I met this person. I was able, like, I had 2 people come separate, didn't even know each other, to one of my events, and they got married a year later. Wow. I've had people come back and tell me that, you know, because I put them on my stage, you know, my small events or whatever, that they're now more confident, inspired, and their music career is growing. So those are my takeaways, my benefits. And yes, again, to make money is key, but also key for me is giving back and knowing that I help somebody be a better version of themselves. Yeah. So coming from where I've come from and now living in Austin and seeing 2 gentrifications happen in my lifetime,
yes,
is kind of saddening. But when I see my African American brothers and sisters out here with brick and mortars, or they have events and stuff like that, even the small pop-up shops or whatever, I always try to support. Of course, my dollar cannot always support everything and everybody, but sometimes just showing up and bringing other people is a way to support. Sometimes sharing a page, liking it, reposting the event is also support. There's always ways to support people without making it always about money. They might need help with stuffing some gift bags. Can you show up for 2 hours, bring a bottle of wine and stuff some gift bags, you know, things like that. So like I made a post the other day telling people, you know, you're in business or whatever, I'm retired, you know, I no longer have my brick and mortars, and I'm happy yet sad about that. But we talk about that maybe another time, because that would make me a little emotional. But I'm enjoying where I'm at right now. I have my time back to a degree. But like things like this, telling my story, I like doing that because hopefully somebody can hear it and be inspired, get re-inspired, especially when, you know, I have 2 degrees. One is from University of Maryland, Baylor in social work. The other one's from UT Austin in social work. So I have my master's in social work. My original path in life was to actually be a full-time therapist. I was on my path to that. I was doing clinical hours to be a clinical social worker, counseling people, working under the tutelage of my mentor, and she was going to literally transfer her practice to me. That was the process we were in. Unfortunately, I had a situation where we'll just say it. You said it's free for. I was fucking being harassed. And coming where I come from, you don't get to keep poking me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'3" now, but I'm just like, it's a lot of 5'3" in here. But I'm just, I tell people, I give you the boundaries. I tell you, like, look, let's not. And this person was a supervisor, and they kept poking the bear, and I snapped. So I ended up being on one side of the counseling table of being the practitioner or whatever to being the patient. So, you know, and then, of course, being in the military, the first thing they want to do is medicate you. So I was on like 12 pills for all different kinds of things, and just slowly watching. It was like I look in the mirror and it's like a piece of my face and my body just disappearing. Like that's what I was seeing as far as being on that, because I couldn't even see myself with being on all these meds. My creativity was gone. I couldn't write. And I love karaoke. I didn't want to karaoke. Then I had the physical issues, so I couldn't do the things that I love, which is dance. I like to skate. You know, I'd be lying to y'all if I told y'all I like to run, but I like to, is it called gallivanting? Like, you know, occasionally I do that because it makes you feel young, you know, just to know that you can still get up that high off the ground and swing your arms. Simultaneously. Yeah, you know, just I could, well, because I have grandkids now, so I like to be able to skip and bounce and, I don't know, tuck and roll at least one time for them, you know. So I just don't know. I just was like, I wanted to have that person back. And so at that point, when I was retired, I began to use cannabis. And that has definitely changed my life tremendously. Growing up in a city where people of color were criminalized for cannabis, put in jail. Some people are probably still in jail. People being shot just for having something like that. Then it being stigmatized. Then me joining an organization that further stigmatizes it, even though they've used it on people in the past. You know, I said, okay, I'm gonna try it. And I tried, and I had tried, you know, cannabis or THC in that form of, you know, elevation, but it was never for pain. I just knew that it relaxed me. It made me feel calmer. It helped me with my anxiety. But I couldn't indulge in it because I was a mom. I had things to do. And so I couldn't be in that high space or that elevated space.
Yeah.
So that's when CBD became more of a remedy or medical remedy for me. So, which brings me to what I do today as far as like events and pop-ups and booths and vendings and things like that, and other events where, you know, cannabis is a center focus. And again, still helping a community, you know, serving people that need that, and always educating. Always educating.
I did the math, and let me see if I can drop a couple things on you. See if I'm right about what I was reading in your life. So 75 baby, 1993 Menace to Society came out. You went in the military at 18. Did that take over and you was known as that girl? Like you was West Coast chick to like your friends and family, and the music popped at that time. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, like that was a big West Coast hit. What was that like? You go into the military, everybody trying to rep where they from, and you was like the West Coast girl, right?
Yes, that was myself, because I've always had my own style. You know, I have people say like, "What do you have on?" or "Where'd you get that from?" or whatever the case may be. I've never really dressed like other people. Both my mother and my father have a fashion sense. It's always cool, but mine, I like fun. I like colors. I like pop. You know, I like style, things like that. But joining the military and going there, once you get out of basic and AIT and all that other stuff where they're trying to make you conform to be a soldier, and then you get your time off and you get to go meet people, right? And so you go to the local club,
yes,
and then everybody's in there, you know, that was back when Karl Kani was out, Cross
yes.
Colors, Calvin Klein still was a thing, you know, and so Tim's and stuff. And so, but I never conformed to just a West Coast style of dress. I combined a lot. I saw that. I saw those shoes. I saw that bag. I saw that hat. I saw this coat, and I put it together for me. So
you owned a pair of Timbos?
Of course. Polo boots. I've had I got a bomber jacket.
You was confusing folk. You was confusing them.
Yeah, and some people ask me.
And then you ended up the other way.
Yeah, it was fun when people be say, "Are you from New York?" I'm like, "No, I live up the street." And I'd be at home in LA, like, "No, I live up the street."
Okay, how about this then? How about this? You got all them people from all over America that are in the army with you. How many times would you say someone asked you to, "Hey, crit walk, show me the crit walk"? How many times? 1,000?
At least.
For those who aren't watching this on YouTube, you should have seen her face. She nearly rolled her eyes, sucked her teeth, and she was like, "Oh, these people." So I'm correct. That's why I had to ask.
It's a thing. It is a thing. And then when they see you do it, it's like,
yes.
And I'm just like, it's, you know, it's not that hard, but it's.
She ain't Fred Astaire. She just crip walk. Pookie could do it.
Yeah.
Pookie from Crenshaw, he could do it. Okay, how about this though? When that movie came out though, Menace to Society, did you get questions? Like, were people like, "Yo, is it like that?" Like, how much did that enter in also? Like, "Yo, Shawnee, when we get out of basic, when we get out of AIT, can we go watch it together?" Like, did that happen?
It did. I was in AIT, and me and my friends, we got a pass to go for the weekend or whatever, and a few of us, we went to go see it. And of course, when we walked out, I was asked to crip walk. I was asked about, do I really live on Hoover Street? I was asked, is it really like that? Like bullets? I was like, yes. Everything, even down to all of it. Everything is just like that. If you go into the projects, that is exactly what it's going to be like. So, but my father lived in South Central, but my mother and my other grandparents lived in Inglewood.
Oh.
So I I had a somewhat of a trifecta. I went to school all the way with, you know, white affluent, the people that lived up by the water and ocean views, all that.
Yep.
And then my mother lived in Inglewood, my grandmother. My grandfather was a pastor, rest in peace to him, and my grandmother. And so I got that side of where, you know, my grandfather always rode in a Mercedes since I could remember. So I never knew poverty like that.
Yeah.
And my father worked. My father worked since he was 17. And when he found out that my mom was pregnant, so he got with the city at 20. And so I never knew about how my other friends would tell me their stories, and I would just like, it didn't connect for me because I didn't know that in any of those dynamics. So, but having to separate those different parts of me was probably the hardest part, because it took me a while to find my true self, because I would always try to be what I needed to be in that environment, because sometimes it was about safety.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about safety and my plan to get out.
So I'm only going to do one more, but you survived that. Maybe that wore off. You got to your first duty station. Maybe it was still in theaters. You probably had to do one or two more times of that. But then 2 years after that, in 95, maybe you got some rank, maybe a corporal E4, maybe a 3-stripe E5 at that time. The movie Friday comes out in 95. And then now you West Coast all over again. Like, it's all popping up again, right?
Well, in 95, it took me a long time to see that movie, because at that point I was pregnant with my second child.
Oh, okay.
So and so I was this domesticated person. Like I said, it took me a long time to find myself. And so I was at home, you know, taking care of my kids, going to church, and trying to be this domesticated wifey, and, you know, living in this bubble, and just trying to be the best at those roles. And so going to see that movie, I did not see it initially when it first came out. Of course, my friends and stuff talked about it, but people didn't talk about it as much because I was just going to church. So church people, they didn't really talk about Friday. At least they pretended that they didn't know about the movie. So I finally saw it. I believe I went out of town. I went with a friend, and it was out on is it a Blockbuster, I think, at that time? Was it Blockbusters? I don't remember how we would rent them. I think it was. Wasn't it? Where you would go rent movies? So that's how I saw it.
Yes, ma'am.
So I didn't get that whole movie theater experience, but definitely Friday is one of my top trilogy movies, and Friday After Next is definitely my top 5 Christmas movies.
It counts. That is
it does count. Movie. That is a Christmas movie. I have been in
arguments about it. I'll draw a knife on you about it. We can argue that much, because I will defend it.
Oh no, it's during Christmas.
Yes.
They have Christmas trees up.
Yes.
Santa's in it.
Yes.
And they have bells ringing in the back. So I jing 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 jing, and that's it. That's it. That's almost a Christmas party, and they have food. Barbecue.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't have to go into that with you, because we were vibing, and I didn't want this to go the wrong way. But yeah, I try. That's almost like that political conversation. Sometimes I try to avoid it, but if I mention it as one of my favorite Christmas movies, I'm prepared to defend it. Okay,
me too.
So your job in the Army. What'd you do in the Army?
Okay, so initially, you know, you take your ASVAB, and they test your aptitude and strengths and all of that. And so my first job was logistics. So that was 92 Alpha. I did not get my, I guess, regular driver's license before leaving home from California to join the military, because I went, so my birthday is January 1st. So I went to join because I graduated high school early at 17. So I was already out of school And I went to try to join, and they said you got to wait till you're 18 unless your parents sign you up. So I waited until I was 18, and then I went to sign up. But so I didn't learn to drive in Los Angeles at all. So I was always either riding or I was on the RTD, which is the bus. So when I joined the military, my first driver's license was a commercial driver's license. So I literally passed the truck driving test and all that. So I drove and backed in a truck and, all this 18-wheeler before a vehicle ever.
Wow.
So logistics, then I learned how to operate a forklift. So I worked in the warehouse. But one day my supervisor had to go to training or whatever, and they left me in charge. And he liked how I did everything administratively, all the HR stuff, making sure people got stuff submitted, blah, blah, blah. And so he sent me to the front office, which was, the administrative office. And so I worked in admin HR for about a good 3 or 4 years and wasn't even classified as a 42 Alpha, which is what it's called. So finally went to school for that, for HR, and went all that and got all the way up to E6. But at that point, I was starting my school for social work to be a therapist, which is what I wanted to do. So then I became a 68, was it whiskey or X-ray? It's behavioral health NCO. And that's where I was actually, assessing soldiers that were deploying and ones that were returning from mobilization to make sure that they were okay. And I was operating under my field director then. Her name is Miss Renee Sin. I'll never forget her because she helped me a lot in regards to becoming who I am. Even though I'm not a social worker today anymore, she helped me in regards to, she was a good mentor. Let's just put it that way. And, personally, I would prefer a Black female mentor, but that's a whole nother side because my personality is what it is. And sometimes people get overwhelmed with my personality because it can be a little big, but then also, because I'm a Capricorn, I recluse sometimes and I shut down because I have to recharge. And some people don't know how to take that. Like, I don't really technically have a best friend. Is that weird? Does that make sense?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because
I have
we're
a childhood best friend.
nowadays.
Yeah, right. I have a childhood best friend, but it's like, I like one. I would say my significant other is my best friend now, but I would like to have a female best friend, but sometimes I get weirded out. I get weirded out. But so that's 92 Alpha, 42 Alpha, 68. I think it was whiskey. No, whiskey is medical. X-ray. I forget, but it's a behavioral health specialist one, and I forgot what it is. But I had 3 MOSs.
Oh, okay.
But I also they had this diversity program for equality and everything, diversity for Hispanics, Indians, African Americans. So there was a Black Employment Program Committee. I was president of that, vice president of that twice, and secretary and public relations officer. So the time that I was in the Army National Guard, I was helping to operate and run that. So I would work with actually Mr. Nelson at one point in trying to get people to come and speak. I've had Mr. Kwada Masil come out and speak to us at Camp Mabry, and some other people from HT come out, getting everything set up and things like that. And so when I was putting those events together and I was able to do it and it felt kind of natural, I wasn't really anxious. I was only anxious about the budget they gave me, try to operate in it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna work this out with this $300. Okay. And y'all want food? Okay, let me, so I'm running around trying to solicit and everything, but it would always work out. People would help out and the programs would always be great. So when I was doing that, then I had somebody ask me to coordinate their wedding. It was one of my good friends. And I was like, okay, but I watched my grandmother, my father, my mother, my other grandparents, like my grandmother, she would cook for, the church and stuff like that. And so I watched it, my other grandmother cooking for all the family, 12, 10 kids and grandkids and stuff, and watching them kind of systematically operate in this kitchen. And I'm the oldest on both sides for my grandparents. I was the first one born on both sides. So I was the watcher. I watch and learn. You know, I'd ask questions, but you know, sometimes in those Southern grandparents, they don't want you to ask too many questions. So then you just sit back and you just be like, okay, I'm watching and I'm observing. You know, okay, oh, that's what you're supposed to do with that, you know. And so and all of those things that I've watched people do, that I've sat back, even though they may not have thought I was paying attention, but I was taking mental notes. I call it whiteboarding. And so now it's come into this place where I'm able to use all those skills, even the ones from the Army, the HR ones, and you know, being an entrepreneur, you know, teaching soldiers. I used to be a peer-to-peer specialist, so I would literally talk to a room of about 200 to 300 soldiers about relationships and you know, confidence and just skills that they needed to have in regards to being social. And I really enjoyed that, but they did away with that program. But then after that, I transitioned into the behavioral health field. So those are my MOSs. I typically don't talk about much else in my military career outside of that, because it's in the past. It was definitely not a first career choice. It was an opportunity to get an education and get out of South Central Los Angeles. And so it afforded me that. It afforded me to take care of my daughters and maintain healthcare and dental and a roof over their heads and transportation, and learn a lot of things and met a lot of great people. Definitely grew a lot, and you know, and sustained some things that will forever be with me. And so I like to leave it there. You know, here lately, I've been working with the VFW Post 8787 with trying to get more awareness and more people in the door, because you know, the World War II veterans and things like that, they're there, but they're, you know, phasing out, for lack of better words. And so they can't get up there on ladders and repair and fix and be out there sweeping and mowing, you know, the lawn. It is strictly volunteer based, you know. So they have an open bar there. So I was, you know, not an open bar, but they have a bar there. So I'll try to bring some of my friends in there and have some drinks, because that money goes into the pot for them to sustain the building. So just still trying to give back to things that are important to me, you know, because I've lost friends, you know, and then being a therapist, and the other people don't understand, is like, you also hear the stories that the soldiers are coming back to tell you that they've seen and done. So it's an experience, and I just try to leave it where it's at, you know, so that way I can sleep at night.
So I asked you about the Crip Walk earlier, but you like to dance. Is there a certain style? I mean, I do a little salsa, bachata, merengue.
Whoa. Okay, so I used to street battle. So if you don't remember the people that you see out, and they'd be like, okay, I go to crew, you know, all right. So I can't even remember the movie right now. Not Boogaloo.
You Got Served.
Boogaloo. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like that, but I went way back to my history, like went to breaking. That's where my mind goes at, because that's when I saw that. That's when I kind of knew that I wanted to do that, because, you know, I've always liked to dance. I mean, I'm a tomboy for life, no apologies there, and climbing trees and stuff like that. But my father, I want to say he sang backup for Angela Williams before I was born. My grandfather he was in a band and sang blues, I believe. And my other grandfather, my mother's father, he played the guitar. So music has been there, you know, and I just like to dance. And I mean, I did my first solo when I was 5. My mom told me that. I didn't even remember, but dancing is just something that I've always liked to do. And so, yeah, You Got Served is a kind of a depiction of that, you know, more of the modern day. But the dance style that I was having back then was more breaking. But it was fun. It was a street battle. We go to World on Wheels. So if anybody's from that 213, they know what World on Wheels was. And so World on Wheels used to have this circle area in the middle that was it was walled off and you could enter it, I think, from two different sides. And so in there, people would sit in the corner and smooch or whatever. But in the center was where the happenings were. So it was the battle groups like, yeah, we're gonna meet there at 3 or 4, whatever time it was, and you come in and and it was always fun. I mean, sometimes a fight broke out, but it was just a dance battle. And then sometimes it would happen at the mall, Fox Hills Mall, for those of y'all that know what that is. And sometimes it happened at the RTD bus stop. It just depends. I mean, sometimes you'd have that person that had the cardboard and they break it down, pull it out the backpack, break it down. And typically the person that had the cardboard was a person that had the skateboard. It was fun. It was a time. And, battling and stuff, especially being a girl dancer. So my style, I had more of a house freestyle night. Like I popped a little bit, but my skill was combinations. So you could get an 8-count combination and you just be out of there. They'd be like, oh, where'd that come from? And then at that time, I had excellent footwork. So when you say crip walk, so that's my style.
You mentioned skating earlier, so y'all used to, the skating rinks was the place to be back in Los Angeles, and
it was just the main one was World on Wheels, and my father skated. Like pretty much my whole family skates. So like my uncles, my aunts, my dad. My grandmother used to skate, so it was, I was first born, so they try to give you everything when you come out. They're like, you gonna skate, little girl. Yes. So started skating. I did try to pick up skateboarding until I had like this hydroplane effect on the ground without any water, and I left the skateboard alone. So skates are good, but
I can understand that. Wait, I want to come back to. Well, you know what, girl, you from Los Angeles, and a lot of these listeners don't know nothing about that. I done lived out there, but you were a dancer. You from Los Angeles. You know where this is about to go. Did you ever try to get on Soul Train?
My parents would not allow me to do that. But I will tell you that had I stayed in Los Angeles, I probably would have been in entertainment. Into the industry of entertainment, rather than I used to want to be a fly girl.
Hey, it worked out
because Soul Train, because like I left home at 18, like literally at 18. So it was a lot of things that were starting to come to be in 93 that I missed out on, like Friday, and then just missing out on just like how most people don't even know things about Leimert Park unless they've watched Insecure with Issa Rae, and they're just like, oh, what was that? Leimert Park was like the heartbeat of our cultural community in Los Angeles. Like you go there and you see so much culture. You have people of African descent there selling their products. You'd have drum circles, you'd have live reggae music, and then you have other, different types of, up-to-date music, stuff like that. But it was just a central place to go, and it's like you would just feel something there. Like there was a very positive musical, cultural essence or entity just in that space, with the music going and the love pouring out, and all the brothers and sisters out there and people in their kente cloths and African attire. And it wasn't just that, it was, people were accepting of all. And it was a place where, Black people could come and hang out like a beef farmer's market, fresh vegetables and fruits. And then they give classes and talk to the children, and the children can go there and learn different things. So it was nice. And I haven't been there to see it in that glory in a while. I know it kind of dissipated after some time. So just going back and seeing how gentrification has changed my city, it's kind of sad. And then living in Austin and watching it happen here, because I got to Austin in right before Katrina. I got here in 2005. And I was doing AIDS services and outreach services here as my job. And I was helping churches in the community after the Katrina hit. And so I've seen, Airport Bar Grill and some of the other places off of Weberville that were there, places of homes and businesses that were on 11th Street and the Victory Grill when it was that. And the other businesses by King Tears. And I met her and her husband when I first got here. And then to just drive over there now, today in 2023, and see all these contemporary homes and coffee shops and stuff. It's a very difficult reminder of what happened in my city, with the gentrification happening all over. You go around the corner, there's all these new homes, and then you drive down the street and you still see some of the original homes, and they're all dilapidated and not being well kept up, and you kind of know that eventually it's about to leave. So it's just it's a sad feeling, but I guess it's a part of life. And again, why I try to do my part in the community and with people that look like me, just to leave my mark. If it's considered a legacy, fine. But if not, like if I were to go today, I would be satisfied with knowing that I did. If not, I know I didn't do all of what God chose me to do, because I still have a little bit more fire in me, but I've done a good majority of it, and I'm happy with that.
Your karaoke life, you like karaoke, and so I gotta know, what's your go-to song? What you pulling out that this is Yo's song?
So I want to say I have 1 to 3 of those.
Okay, we'll take the number one. We'll take your second place, and then we'll take an honorable mention to get all 3.
Oh man, that's difficult. See, because let me explain. For karaoke, for me, when you put me on the spot with karaoke, literally, I don't know what it is. My mind goes blank of all the songs. So what I did was I have a karaoke list on my phone.
What? Okay, bring it out.
I do. I have a karaoke list in my phone. Okay, so I will tell you that one of them is International Players Anthem.
Okay, that's a shock. All right.
Well, exactly, because it's sometimes people are singing these sad, slow songs, and I'm just like, people are like, they're about ready to go. And if there are any Black people, Hispanic people, and it's, and it has a little bit of urban in there, I'm gonna bring that out because people are gonna wake up. They always do.
Yeah.
And as far as my other song, I would say sometimes when I'm around, so it depends on the environment. If I'm karaoke, like when I go to the VFW and I'm there and it's a bunch of seniors, I'll sing something like Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys.
Oh, that's
I like to do that.
You showing range.
Well, because everybody gets up there and they expect a Black woman to get up there and sing. And although I can, I don't always want to sing. Yes. So and my other go-to is All the Small Things by Blink-182.
Oh, I am loving this range here.
Okay. And so as far as my slow song go-to, almost any Jill Scott song. And then I'll do How Many Drinks by Miguel.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. We approve that list.
I know everybody does Lauryn Hill. So I'm just although I love Lauryn, I'll do her if people ask me. But I like the shock and awe of, I didn't know. I haven't heard that song in a long time, because somebody else is going to eventually sing Lauryn Hill. So I try to sing something different.
So you mentioned earlier you got grandkids. For those who are just on audio, where the crack? Where the gray hair? I'm sure you got to show You got to prove, you got to pull out the driver's license, right? And show people that you may be old enough to have some grandkids, which is a compliment. But you seem like you're holding it together.
Thank you. I try.
Grandma's supposed to look like. So we gonna back up then. Okay. When you were around with the other grandmas, how they treat you? Because you ain't looking like the rest of us. You ain't looking like them.
They look shocked. They're like, no, you're lying. And sometimes they want to see my ID. Yep. I don't. They act a little funny, and then they'll say what you said, like, "What are you using?" And I was like, yep. I don't know. I laugh a lot. I laugh a lot, not as much as I used to before all the psychotropic meds feel like just messed up my chemistry. But I laugh a lot. I try to find the humor, not like some people that laugh when stuff should not be funny. I mean, I literally try to find the happiness in certain things, most things I should say, and I always try to laugh a lot. My aunt told me that. My aunt Deborah, she said, you gotta laugh every day. It's what helps to keep you young. And she told me that when I was about maybe 14 or something, and it just kind of stuck with me. So I try to make sure I laugh every day and surround myself with people that will help me or make me laugh every day. I can't be around people that are miserable and can't find joy in life. I can't do that. That's why I'm not a therapist anymore. Okay. Because I can't do it. I don't have a place for it. My library is full.
Mm-hmm. What are your goals for 2024? What you pushing on? What you working towards?
Goals. I would like to break ground on my final home. That's one of the goals. Definitely I'll be honest and transparent, to be out of business debt. I would like to so my birthday party is next year for my 50th on the 28th of December, even though it's on New Year's. I'm going to have it then. I would like for that to be a massive fundraiser to give back to veterans and people that are less disadvantaged. I would just like for that to be that. So as far as my goal for next year, that is one of them. And maybe I guess all my events to be popping, for people to show up and to be successful. And and I think that's it. And I think I need a vacation. So that's a goal, right? That's a goal.
I want to make sure I get an invite to that 50th birthday party, because I want to be in the back with the rest of the people talking out the side of our mouth. She ain't 50. She's just trying to 50. And I'm going to be
It's on Eventbrite. It's on Eventbrite. It's called 50 Years of Shawnee.
That don't mean we got to believe it. Oh, fake Shawnee. Y'all don't even know. She knows she's 35 out there trying to get 50.
Tell that to my back. Tell that to my back, my knees, my feet, my shoulders. Tell it to all this arthritis. Tell that to that. Because that is not what my body.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's ask that back and the knees. When's the next time it's gonna rain?
So I mean, I have my own cannabis salve that I kind of formulated off of a base sample from another company, and they make it for me wholesale. But it's made with coconut oil, and it has CBD in it, and it has beeswax and menthol and peppermint. And I've been using that for like the past 5 years, and that's what helps me. Like, it's a pain salve, and I rub it on my back and shoulders, my knee. I call it head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Because that's where I rub it. I rub it, like I'll rub at the base of my neck when I'm stressed right here, my shoulders and everything. And it helps a lot of people. My parents finally started using CBD because of that. And a lot of seniors, veterans use the product, and some other young adults and stuff. So that's what helps me. And because it helps me to be my full self and not have to use other THC or cannabis products with THC to be elevated all the time, but so I can still be able to have a interview without, feeling all of that. I want to feel myself, my energy, my level of excitement,
Yes.
my authentic emotions and reactions and stuff like that. So, but CBD has been my life changer, and alkaline water.
Hey, y'all got it. Y'all got the secret behind the scenes remedy. Okay. These are the last two. Socials. How can everybody find you? How can the new listeners, the people that just found you off of this podcast, how can they follow? Where can we find out about more of these events?
Okay.
How do they do that?
Gotcha. So I have my links on all my socials that goes to all my events under Linktree. And my name is my tag is Shaunie. It's spelled SHAUNIE. And on Instagram it is _CVL, which is short for Canavet Live. But my Facebook is Shaunie Haynes. My LinkedIn is Shaunie Haynes. My TikTok is Shaunie, I believe 0101, and then I have one for Canavet Live. But all those pages have links that go to my actual events page and my shop, which just has a few items in there. Because one of my other main events is my 420 in the Clouds event, and that event is not just about the use of cannabis, but it's more so educating people and allowing them to be in a safe space to experience cannabis in different ways, but then also to meet other people, because this is the event where two people met at my first one, and then by the second one they were married. And so they said thank you, and I was like, great, because it encompasses, I have a comedy show, I have a fashion show, I have a music showcase. Last year DJ Michael 5000 Watts was my headliner DJ, and then I have a whole EDM side. So on this EDM side, it's all psychedelic, and you have all the house music, deep house, things like that. So it gives you different dynamics. And this is all on beautiful campgrounds of Camp Mount Breeze in New Braunfels. So you can go tubing. We have education during the day. We have food all day long. And then on Sunday, we have a hangover brunch. And that's where we have an infused breakfast and stuff like that. So it's a full weekend event, and it's fun. At night on Saturday, we have a silent party because they have a noise ordinance. So we do the silent party. So it's a thing where you can buy tickets to come for the day, stay for the night, or you can come for the whole weekend. But either way, you're leaving there having an experience.
Yeah.
And so that event also is one of my goals, to have it actually kick off and be successful and get some more eyes and ears on my vision and what I'm trying to do there. So I'm hoping that that'll come to fruition.
Yeah. This is the last question. Sorry, okay. There are two questions left.
It's okay.
What would your peers say to describe you?
Fun.
That's pretty good.
Fun. Yeah, fun. That's what I get. Shaunie's so fun. She's so awesome. Yeah. And it's not me too long. This is what they say, but I'm genuinely you won't catch me in gossip circles. I don't do all that. Like, I'm a person, I believe in the small minds, average minds, great minds. And I like to classify myself as one of the great minds. And a lot of people don't. They see me talking to different people, male, female, older, younger, prominent, affluent, whatever. And they never know how I know these people. Some of these people I've counseled. Some of these people have been my soldiers. Some of these people have been people I've worked with in the military. Some of them I've helped their children through counseling. Some of them I know from some of the church homes I've been a part of. And sometimes I'm just really talking to people, and I guess my conversation just gets insightful, and we have a conversation about a life issue, and I give insight, and then they're like, thank you, I didn't think about it that way. So I get that a lot. And so again, like I said, those are my give backs. I don't need any pats on the backs or anything like that. That me walking away from somebody knowing that they're leaving me better than whence they came is always a blessing for me. So because I feel like I'm using the gifts that God has given me to pour into one of his other people, and to help them. So those are some of the things that people have said. I mean, some may say crazy because sometimes I do extra fun stuff. Nothing like over the edge, but the people that call me crazy are people that are introverts. We'll just leave it at that.
No, it's understood. This is the last question. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. Who is the most interesting person in your life? And what would you do to help me get them on this podcast? Now, interesting does not mean most famous or richest. I mean, if they are interesting to you, cool. But I'm here for conversation. I'm in for the interesting. Like you, man, yo, this is an interesting person.
It's like, I guess, to where I'm intrigued, or like, I'm just like, you know what? It's hard for me to look up to somebody else in comparison to my energy and what I bring. Not like monetary or whatever, but just like the energy, the love, the whole vibe thing. So the one person, honestly, that would come to mind, and I just met this person, and he's a veteran, and I just met him maybe about 4 years ago now. He came into my my cannabis shop in Pflugerville when I had that open, and I met him and his mom, who's a veteran. And ever since he's opened up to me, it's like I've watched him blossom. And he's a comedian, and his name is Jose the Hype.
So what would you do to help me then? Would you put in a word?
I can. I will do that. He'd be more than happy to probably do this with you guys, but I will definitely let him know. He's a comedian. He's a veteran. And he's growing. He's got a song on, is it Spotify? That's pretty funny. But yeah, I would say that that's probably the most interesting person that I know as of right now, off the top of my head, with just hands down, that would give you some meat and potatoes for this, this podcast.
Shawnee, this was great. I knew, I asked for the listeners, I heard her being interviewed, and I immediately sent her a DM, and I was like, hey, guess what? I like that energy. I want you to come on my podcast. And then she did. So during a very busy holiday season, y'all heard how we started off this podcast, what she got going on, and yet she didn't postpone. And that happened to me this week, but she did not. She held it. And so I appreciate that. I know how hard it is during this week to get this in, but hey, all I can do is chase the content. But you said, I'm going to help you with your content. I ain't going to cancel it, brother.
Well, I said I was giving it to the community. I said, so this is my giving. This is my giving.
So thanks again. This is great. I can't wait to re-engage with you offline to see how your family, friends, constituents, what they think of the podcast. And we left some meat on the bone. Like, there's some other things we got to get to. So for those that are listening, I will ask her to come back. Now, she'll big time us. Once this one goes viral, she'll big time me, and then she'll be like, well, I ain't got the time for you right now. But hey, all I can do is try. I'm
here for you. This is a starter, so I'm here. Just let me know when.
Okay. Shawnee, thank you again. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. You have a good day, Donato.
We'll see you.